My parents weren't particularly supportive. They, coming from an Asian background, hey, I made you, give you a degree. Why are you doing, why are you becoming a copy boy? That was the word for it, copy boy.
You're listening to Foodie Canteen, a food podcast brought to you by Good Foodie Media. I'm your host, Castle Lim. Today on the show, we have Terence with us. He's the co-founder of ZUS Coffee, one of the newest and latest Malaysian coffee chain. After opening their first outlet in KL in 2019, now they have 61 outlets nationwide. Today, you'll find out how they grew so quickly just in 2 years, even through the pandemic. Hey Terence, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, Castle. How are you?
I am good. I'm so happy you made some time to come up here on the pod.
Yeah, I'm very excited. This is something that's pretty new for me as well.
Yeah. So actually for season 3, we are highlighting each player from each state in Malaysia. And I think I just want to set the stage here for our listeners who's never been to KL, like from Perlis or Kedah, who are non-Malaysians listening to this podcast. I think people have imagined KL as a hustle and bustle city with lots of cafes, high-end dining, hawker foods with a rich family history. But being born and raised in KL yourself, what is your version of KL growing up?
It's actually very different from what it is today. Being here for the last 20 plus years of my life, there were not that many highways, not so many cars, more trees, that's definitely, less jams. So times has changed and it's a bit more bustle now, a lot more things, a lot more exciting now as well. Yeah. That's what has changed over the years or so.
Yeah. I mean, the answer you're giving me now is like infrastructure and economy, but what about your story?
What about my story? I think what's key about in KL is that we have a lot of options. And then that is something that has been coming from my hometown is actually my parents' hometown is actually in Ipoh. So every Chinese New Year, we actually do get to go back and we see this, me and my family, we see this vast difference in the type of foods that are available, the type of people that are there, and the language that they speak. And being raised in KL, you have such diverse people around you. So you have people that speak really good English. Then you have the bunch of people that are all Chinese spoken. So in that way, you have this very interesting mix of food, culture, and I think that's what has really helped me today to adapt to where I am as well. Yeah. Yeah,
that's a good answer. and since you are talking about food and we are a food podcast, like what are some must-try food you would recommend to people who are visiting KL?
Visiting KL? KL has a lot of good food, man. I don't think I would be doing it justice if you were to ask me what specifically.
Or your favorites.
In fact, just now I was just talking to one of my colleagues. I think one of the best food that all of us can agree on, banana leaf. We have some of the best banana leaves in KL.
And you got to eat it with the hands. Like if you eat it with the spoon and fork, you're not.
That's the official rule. You do not eat it with fork and spoon. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to get the spice onto your fingers. That's how you do it.
And different types of curry. Love it. So tell us, when did you first come across the coffee space?
Okay, so I've always, as a young boy, I've always loved Starbucks, ironically, okay? That's where everybody starts. Frap, especially the ice blended. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Going to Starbucks, it's all about the ice blended. So for the longest amount of time, I've always wanted to work in that type of space where I want it for free. I don't want to keep paying for the ice blended. So ironically, right after high school, that's where I ended up. Started working in Starbucks, and I started getting all my ice blended for free.
And what did your parents think about that, like going into this coffee space?
Oh, not good, not good, not good. It wasn't a very smooth journey at all. In fact, while I was working in the coffee scene, my parents, I was actually also studying full time, going through a business degree. And right after I completed my business degree, I went full time into coffee, and it was quite a tough journey actually. My parents weren't particularly supportive. They, coming from an Asian background, hey, I made you give you a degree. Why are you doing? Why are you becoming a copy boy? That was the word for it, copy boy. So, and you're only earning that much, and it was very frowned upon. It was a very tough time. Fortunately, my mom was able to see that I was very happy. And eventually, they also accepted that I'm doing this out of a passion, out of my personal peace and joy. So uh, it took a while, but I got there. I got there, and
And I'm sure
today,
now they're happy.
yeah, they better be. Yeah,
And how
they
was
are.
it like when ZUS first started in 2019? Seems like not too long ago, but with 61 outlets now, it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, it actually does. I Time flies when you're very busy. So in 2019, to be honest, we were very unsure. Me and my partners, we were all very unsure. I think the heart of why we started ZUS Coffee is because we were very passionate about delivering quality coffee to our consumers. That's something that we don't see that is widely available in KL at that point of time. And we really didn't have much thought. We didn't think about growing too big. We were just, hey, let's. I think this is the right thing to do. I think we really want to start it like that, giving people the opportunity to have quality coffee, and that's how it was. Yeah, we were very unsure. We didn't. There was no reference. Yeah.
But ZUS wasn't your first venture. Like before ZUS, you were doing something else in the coffee space as well.
Yeah, correct. I was with another chain coffee business. Been working there for the last probably 8 to 9 years. And that is where I picked up all the necessary skills that I have today. And where I learned was the weaknesses and where the strengths of the industry in Malaysia. And that is precisely why it pushed me to start ZUS together with my partners. Yeah.
And like what you said just now about your parents' perception of you being a barista in the beginning, like you're just a kopi boy. We are now in what we call the third wave coffee. In the past, it was the kopitiam and the mama. That's where our parents get the coffee culture from. And
Yeah.
then came coffee chains like Starbucks and Coffee Bean Tea Leaf. Now we have independent cafes, local coffee shops like VCR or Norm in Penang, that's focused on making specialty coffee. Do you think ZUS is somewhere in between like the second and the third wave, because you guys focus on specialty coffee, but you are not like a 3 outlet coffee like cafe. You are like 61 outlet nationwide, just like a bit like Starbucks.
Okay. Just to give you a bit of sharing, yes, we are always trying to bridge that gap. If you realize from the first wave, being the kopitiams and all the different type of places where you get your normal kopi peng, kopi cow, and then progressing to brands like Starbucks, Coffee Bean, where they are more commercial and they're all everywhere. Then you have your independent, like what you said, those are the 3 waves. I don't see ZUS Coffee being in any of those 3 waves. I would like to see ZUS Coffee in kind of our own wave, the 4th kind of wave, where we make coffee more approachable, coffee more fun. Previously, it's always been very serious about coffee. You want coffee, it's about work, it's about getting things done. But what the independent coffee shops did, they made it more approachable. They started mixing it up with special types of flavors and ingredients. Yeah, I would say we are making our own kind of wave, combining a bit of what the second wave was, where you have it in different places, and also the fun and the creativity that you see in the third. wave. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way you put it. Can you briefly educate us on what defines like specialty coffee versus commercial grade coffee?
Very nice, very great. I like this question. I spend a lot of time explaining this to all my customers. Commercial coffee is basically coffee that is readily available and it's so easy to procure. But once you go into specialty, everything is about transparency, everything is about traceability, so and sustainability as well. So in specialty, we hold very high regards as to where we procure our beans, who is farming our beans, where is the farm from, what is the grade of the coffee. So in the commercial sense, they do not highlight all these details. So in most cases, what happens to all these commercial type of farmers is that their livelihoods are not taken care of. Yeah. And in specialty, we have that strong emphasis on the relationship between the farmer, the roaster, and us in the cafe. And we educate our consumers, hey, do you know this cup of coffee that you're buying today? It's actually, the farm is all the way in Brazil, for example. The farmer's name is so and so. The name of his estate is so and so. And you are buying this cup, your cup is directly affecting his livelihood. That is what it means to be specialty.
So like
Of course. Yeah.
every stage of the supply chain, the farmers, the roaster, and you guys are well taken
Yep.
care of.
Correct.
And when MCO hit us in 2020, you guys started with outlet number 2. And ever since you've grown to what is now 60 plus outlets across 6 states in Malaysia, what do you think played the biggest role in this rapid growth?
Okay. I would say it started with what we want to do. So initially, all we wanted to do was provide a good cup of coffee and make it readily available. So in our first location, we were located in KL, in the heart of KL, but it was a very obscure part of KL. It's very hidden. So during then, we told ourselves, okay, nobody's going to come in to buy coffee from this place. So let's do delivery. And it just so happened when we started this initiative to get deliveries coming into the cafe, it just kept picking up, and very blessed and thank God as well that we did that. So when MCO hit, it made more sense for us to focus on the delivery. So I would say that we have been very fortunate, very blessed to be caught in such a situation as well. Yeah. So from then, it just helped us reach more people.
And among the 6 states, right, which state was the hardest to go into?
Among the 6 states, which state was the hardest? Let me think. I think the hardest for us to go into, Johor was fine. I think it was Penang. I think it was Penang.
Why Penang?
I have no idea. Okay.
Tell us, spills the beans.
Penang people are not particularly friendly when it comes to complaints.
Like what? Do they want it cheaper, bigger, more milk? Like what is it?
Something along those lines, or they find very, very funny things to complain about, which is very entertaining, by the way. So they would tell me, hey, my coffee is not hot enough, and then my baristas would be scorching their hands just to hold the cup, but it's not hot enough for them. So yeah, cases like that. Yeah, very, very fun. But nonetheless, they have been a very great bunch of people as well. Very friendly, but maybe not on the complaints part. But yeah, Penang.
Okay, interesting to know. Since now that I'm still based in Penang in this recording, but I just want to ask you, like, with this growth, and I'm sure there's challenges, but like you said, you guys are very blessed to be in this season of time and with the great growth. Does it keep you up at night, like thinking that somewhere something might go wrong?
I don't think I'm getting sleep every night. It's been like that for, I
Like,
think.
what are the thoughts that goes through your mind? The worries.
I think recently one of the biggest things that hit us was the flood.
Yeah.
Wow, the flood was something that nobody expected. We knew it was raining. We knew it was raining very heavily, and it just didn't stop. And never has it occurred to us that it would affect our business. So then the next thing we have to do, we have to arrange for the livelihood of our staffs. We have to make sure that each and everyone gets home safe. If they're caught in the outlet, what happens next? So I think it's all part of business. There's always going to be all these unexpected struggles. You're never going to be able to be fully prepared. But we like to be, we like to have as many tools as we can prior to all these things happening. I think that's key. And working together with the other departments and communicating on how we can make the best of all these weaknesses is how we go through now. Yeah, so you ask me anything that keeps me up at night. I think it's whenever a problem comes along, then how are we going to solve it together? So we have a lot of late night meetings, a lot of late night phone calls. That is what keeps me up at night.
Yeah. And I read research saying that around 60% of new restaurants fail within the first year, with like 80% they don't make it to their 5th anniversary. I don't know how this rings true to cafes, if it's the same or slightly different. But you have answered it in the last 2 questions. But I just want to ask, like, what do you think you are doing differently that makes ZUS to what we see now as pretty successful?
I think. Okay, so being a barista, and I think that is something that we have driven from the very start in everybody's hearts in this company, that it is really not about us. It is about the baristas. It's also about the customers. So it's always about them first. It's always about what we can do for them and how we can impact their lives. Sounds very abstract, but it rings true to everybody here. Like for instance, one of the initiatives that we have in this company is that the moment you join this company, regardless of whether you are joining as a management team or whether you're joining as the warehouse, for example, you would have to commit to going into operations for at least a day, just to understand what it's like to be a barista, just to understand what it's like to serve a customer. So that is really where you start. That is really where you start. And I am very fortunate to have references like one of my favorite restaurants, chain restaurants, HaiDiLao. Service. It's always about the service. It's always about the people, how you treat the people. And that is where we started. And I think that rings true for all my partners as well. That's what we have committed to. And I believe that's the difference that makes us where we are today. Yeah. So the key is making sure the baristas are happy, the customer is happy, the business is taken care of.
It's like the extra little mile you go in hospitality. Actually, I was just before this interview at ZUS. I was just sitting for like 45 minutes just to observe and like be in the zone. And then when I left, like this barista was like, "Hey, bye, have a good day," and it makes me happy. It's just you don't have to say it, but when I walk out, I feel like you feel maybe like community, a sense of relationship, and that's what makes it different by going to some other restaurants who don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's tap into your creative zone for a bit. You're pretty much the heart and soul of the drinks at ZUS. How do you get into this creative zone when creating new drinks, like maybe even like this CNY edition or some other drinks you'd like to talk about?
Drinks. That is very interesting. I think first and foremost, you got to love food. You gotta love food, and Malaysia is a perfect place to be in when you want to explore the variety of foods. So it actually starts as humble as mamaks. Yeah, I believe the answers are all there. The ideas are all there. Mamaks, grocery, shopping, just walking down the street and seeing all the different type of foods that are around. The ideas are all there. It just needs somebody to be able to connect the dots and pick up the pieces. So as for me and my team, what we do, like let's say mamak, we go with the perspective, hey, what can the mamak teach us? What is it that people are ordering? Is it why the teh ice? Why syrup bandung? Yeah. And we try to understand the mentality behind it. And is there something that ZUS can come in to make this more modern, make this more fun, make this more engaging? Yeah, that is how we have always approached our ideations. We want to appeal to the memories of people where they have, I taste this. This reminds me of that. Yeah, so I've always loved experiences like that myself. Whenever, like when I was traveling when I went over to England for a bit of time, and I realized that food invokes memories. Yeah, nasi lemak, for example, roti canai, so hard to find in England and so expensive. So, but the moment I have it, it reminds me of being back at home, and I enjoyed that reminiscence of food. And I think here in ZUS, that's what we're trying to achieve as well, to give people a memory to remember from, or something new that, hey, this is very interesting. It is something old but done new. Yeah, so you will find a lot of this type of things in ZUS. At the same time, find a lot of new flavors as well. Yeah, that's where we start.
And let's talk a bit about your signature drink. One of them is called ZUS Gula Melaka. And as you guys describe it, it's a cup that took 1,000 tries to perfect. Tell us about it.
Okay. That one. I think it starts with me loving cendol. I love cendol. I love Gula Melaka. And I've always wondered how I could incorporate it into a drink. So I knew that I wanted to play with Gula Melaka. I knew that I wanted to mix it with coffee. But I don't know what would be right, what would be the right flavor. So over 1 year, when right before we were setting up ZUS, we were just playing around with a lot of flavors together. Myself and my then friend, who later on became my partner, we were just, hey, try this. I made something new again with Gula Melaka. And then we had a chef friend as well. Then he was like, hey, why not you throw some pandan leaves inside? Why not you add, hey, don't use this milk, you use that type of milk. And we were just going around to and fro. And in that course of a year, probably 1,000, maybe even more. Yeah. Because we just wanted that perfect experience that we had when we each had that personal connection with Gula Melaka. And when you ask about Malaysian flavors, Gula Melaka. Yeah.
Is there some drink like brands or coffee chains that you look up to as a Malaysian coffee brand co-founder? I mean, you mentioned Starbucks, yeah. So Starbucks.
Starbucks. Yeah. The more we get deeper into this business, the more we get into understanding how coffee chains operate, the more we learn to respect brands like Starbucks, brands like Coffee Bean, who've been around for so long, and you wonder how they do it. And then how do they stay on top of their game? How is it that after even 25 years, they're still being the biggest coffee brand in the market?
And what are some things that you value from their company that you really apply here at ZUS?
I came from a cafe background where everything is handcrafted. So I would put in my heart to make this cup of coffee for you. And it doesn't matter if I put my cup over there first, then my machine is all the way on the right, and then the sink is maybe 10 miles down the road, that kind of approach. And I realized when we first started Binjai, Binjai is the first outlet, by the way. We had no such knowledge. So we just, hey, I think this cafe looks good. That's all. And then after that, when the orders start coming in, and we are like, hey, why is our baristas bumping into each other? Why is it that why do they have to walk so far for the ice? That kind of approach. So Starbucks, then we went and observed Starbucks. How is it that Starbucks is able to make so many orders and the baristas are also happy? Why are my baristas, yelling at each other? Then, we found out, they put the ice machine there. Oh, they put the sink next to it. So everything is so precise, almost like it's an art of how they designed their bar. Not only that, how they designed their menu. It really gave us a lot of insight into how we can optimize things here at ZUS. So yeah, definitely a lot of respect for Starbucks, a lot of respect for Coffee Bean. Yeah.
I remember the first time I drank ZUS, and then I'm not an app person. I just like to go to the counter and order. It's just like I don't know, I grew up during that era. But then I downloaded the app because for the first experience, you get like buy one, free one. And I think that's how you guys get people to download the apps too. Do you think app is a crucial part of ZUS Coffee?
Definitely. Initially, when we started this business, we didn't have this in mind. We never thought that the app would be something so crucial. But it was also because when we were in Binjai, the first outlet, the first thing we thought of was we don't want a queue. We don't want people to start queuing up for coffee. That is something that Starbucks has always faced. When I was working in Starbucks, I have customers that line up for 45 minutes. Yeah.
Just like HaiDiLao.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they would come up to me, flustered, like, why 45 minutes? And then I got to wait another 15 minutes for my coffee. So we believe that technology was the solution to that. And that's how we decided to work on the app as well. And we wanted to it was very simple. It's not what you see today. In fact, it was just as simple as, hey, do you want to buy? Yeah. Or you can kind of pay through the app. It's very complicated, but you can do it. Yeah, it wasn't as advanced as it is today. But yes, definitely. Very, very important and core to this business.
And what does your company stand for? Like when consumers think of ZUS, what do you want to think about? What do you want people to think about?
If there is one thing that I would like consumers to have an impression on is that we serve good coffee. That is definitely the start. And right after good coffee would be that everybody that works to make this cup of coffee for you, whether it's on the front end or the back end. Yeah, it's a necessity and it's not a luxury. Yeah. So everybody on the back end, it's all baristas. Yeah, everybody is committed to making this cup tasty and making it good for you. Yeah, that's definitely what we want.
And we had a call before this recording. You talk about how you don't believe in underpaying the bottom line staff, and at your heart, it is to improve the industry in Malaysia. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, one part of the reason why we have always believed to put our bottom line first. It's also because I came from that type of background. When I came to started this journey, I was being paid horrible, very, very horrible.
How horrible? Tell us.
Let's say in the low thousands, 1,002, 1,003. Yeah, and this probably went on for about 2 years before we started to see something good. And of course, my parents were angry, they were pissed. But then later on, when I had the opportunity to go Australia and go Taiwan, went over to even in UK, then I realized that baristas there are treated very differently. They're treated with a lot of respect. They are treated like a professional career. And I have a few friends who have worked with me and in here in Malaysia, and then they went over to Australia, and they come back to tell me, "Hey, Terence, hey, thanks for what you have done. Thanks for sharing with me what you have shared, and because of what you have shared with me, I'm able to earn the same salary I was earning here, there." So Malaysian ringgit to Aussie dollar, 3K to 3K, and it made a very big difference. It gave them a reason to stay in Australia, gave them a reason to continue living. And I asked myself this: why can't we do it here in Malaysia? Why is it that Malaysia, we always have this struggle that only SPM leavers or people who cannot find a job only become baristas? Why can't we pursue this as a passion? And that is how we want our baristas here in ZUS to be. We want them to be able to pursue this passion out of heart, and not just because, the money is little, I don't want to do this. Yeah, we really want them to, hey, the money is not a problem. Do what you love to do.
Talking about getting paid, salaries in Malaysia and whatnot, there seems to be a notion that there are actually people who likes to drink coffee, and then there are people who likes to be seen drinking coffee. But I think the average Malaysian cannot buy a 17 ringgit, like 15 ringgit coffee every morning. Sometimes they prefer to make it back at home. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, when I was in Australia, I didn't pay so much for coffee. I earned a minimum wage. It was, as a student, I was earning about maybe 10 Aussie dollars. But with 10 Aussie dollars, I could easily buy 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
in a
like
day.
in the States, it's like for 1 cup coffee, it's like 5.5 USD.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
but over
And
here, it's like 17. You earn 3K, you pay 17. Over there, you earn 3K, you pay 5.5. So,
correct. And I couldn't take it. I saw that why there was something wrong here. There was something that we could do here in ZUS to make a difference to that. And I'm very fortunate that all my partners are also very aligned on this. All of us love to drink coffee. That's the start of it. And we all agreed that coffee here is a bit overpriced. It's not something that you can willingly spend that money on. In fact, if there is one day, I would hope even people in the rural areas will know of ZUS and be able to afford this.
So what's next for ZUS? Like, do you have any goals set in the next, say, 1 to 3 years?
In the next 1 to 3 years, of course, the humble goal would be, hopefully we'll be able to go international, be able to share this same passion that we have with the countries around us. We are seeing how they are doing things over there, and we are also referencing it here to Malaysia, and hopefully we can really go that angle. I think we want to be that Malaysian brand. I think Malaysians primarily are very proud. We are very prideful over our nation, and that's something that we want to do. We want to bring this Malaysian brand out of Malaysia and show people that something great can come Malaysia as well.
And finally, what's your advice for budding entrepreneurs or people who might considering going into this coffee scene, starting their own cafes or like their own coffee chain? Is there any unexpected challenges they should look out for? A lot, too much to name.
This is a tough one. I think a lot of people would say this, a lot of entrepreneurs would say this. They would say, don't give up, give it your best, keep trying. I would say this is something that I came along. I think I did a bit of reflection, and one of the lines that I've came up with is, weakness is strength in disguise. Yeah. So you want to find strength in whatever weaknesses that you're facing in life or in business. You just have to be able to take away its disguise and find the strength in it. And I think that's how we have always been approaching all our problems. We have always, hey, is this a problem or is this an opportunity? For example, I think one of the biggest questions a lot of people ask us is, how do you guys survive MCO? How do you guys grow in MCO? I think first it starts with recognizing what MCO is, and it's not a problem, but what are the opportunities that lie behind MCO, and really challenging yourself to think in a way that there must be a better way out of this. There must be a brighter way out of this, and not accepting things just the way it is. Yeah. So if you would like a word for budding entrepreneurs, stay curious. Yeah. Stay curious. Keep doubting, keep asking yourself, and eventually you'll find a way out of things.
I think fear probably is one of the biggest obstacle, but talking about curiosity, I feel like as curiosity grows, increases, like fear decreases. I don't know, that's for me. I don't know how that rings true to you, but Terence, really thank you so much for coming on the pod and sharing your story, for being funny and like transparent. Malaysians, so proud. We have our own Starbucks right here.
I like the sound of that. Thank you, Castle. It's been great.
That was Terence Ho from ZUS Coffee. You have just listened to Foodie Canteen. This show is produced by me, your host Castle Lim, and co-written by Sulin Chung. Foodie Canteen podcast is made possible by the amazing team at Good Foodie Media. Check us out on Instagram and YouTube at Foodie Canteen for more. Follow us for brand new episodes every Friday. See you next week.